Semi-final 2 of Eurovision 2021 features 17 countries. San Marino is opening and Denmark is closing. Oliver, should we go back and forth and discuss?
Let's do this.
All right, let's first review the actual running order. Opening up the show is San Marino's Senhit with Adrenalina, followed by Estonia, Czech Republic, Greece, Austria, Poland, Moldova, and rounding out the first half, Iceland.
And in the second half, we've got Serbia to open, followed by Georgia, Albania, Portugal, Bulgaria, Finland, Latvia, Switzerland, and closing the show is Denmark.
Now, after the running order came out, I saw a lot of fans saying, oh, they're trying to kill Senhit. I don't think that's the case. I think this suggests that Senhit has something very eye-catching that producers want to make sure people watch. And if you go first, there are people waiting, diehard fans who have been logged on for hours, they've been on the couch for hours, waiting to see you. I don't think this is an insult. I think it is actually a compliment. For all we know, she could have a very elaborate stage setup that requires more time to get the stage ready. So by going first, perhaps they've had some time because they're showing clips of all sorts. So you just never know. I wouldn't read too much into this, except in the positive sense of they want Adrenalina to set viewers on fire so they stick around and stop, drop, roll. Oliver.
Absolutely. I think it's always an honor to go first. No matter the quality of the song, it's such an honor to be able to open the show. And San Marino are going to give an amazing stage show. We've all seen the Freaky Trip to Rotterdam. We've seen the Adrenalina music video. There's just so much artistic vision there. And I've no doubt that is going to translate to the stage. I understand when people say that songs earlier on sometimes tend to get lost, but with this, that is absolutely not the case. This is going to be the thing that pulls people in, makes them keep watching, and it also sets the bar for everybody else. Everything's going to be compared to San Marino. And if Flo Rida makes it to Rotterdam, which that is going to be a moment. Flo Rida opening the second semi-final of Eurovision for San Marino is a sentence that nobody ever would have imagined saying, but it just might happen, and it's going to be iconic. It's going to be incredible.
And it will dominate Twitter trends. It will be the talking point throughout the entire show. I'm sure they were thinking about the impact, the splash that could make on social media. We move on, number 2, slot of death, people like to say, Estonia, Uku Suviste. Now, as we saw in semifinal 1, Slovenia does not have very good odds. Uku, Estonia, he does not have very good odds. So it does kind of feed this narrative that perhaps they put songs in the second spot, the producer said is, that they're not so keen on or confident about.
Yeah, I am worried that this could get lost. Going straight after Senhit and Flo Rida, that's going to be a lot of pressure for anybody, but somebody has to take it, I think Uku's song could resonate with a lot of people. It is very radio friendly, but when we look at Este Lau, the results there, he didn't do incredibly well with the jury, and the jury tends to be the thing that saves these acts that get sometimes lost in the running order because the televote isn't as friendly to them. So the televote is going to have to be really, really high for Estonia if they want to secure qualification.
Absolutely. I do hope the lucky one remains the lucky one and that spot 2 is not the unlucky one. In any case, we move on. 3, 4, and 5, Czech Republic, Cristo, Greece, Stefania, Austria, Vincent, Bueno. This section, again, it fits as we discussed from semifinal 1 with the idea of tonal shifts, mixing it up, different textures and feels. Cristo has told us in an interview that he's going to dance, he's going to move, he's going to put on a show. We know that they're planning a lot of dance. He'll be joined by 2 female and 2 male dancers. There's going to be a lot going on. Estonia, they didn't have that in the national final, so that'll be a big visual shift. And Stefania, I don't know what she's going to do, but I don't picture Stefania, busting a move. I don't think she's going to be dancing the whole time. So I think Benny will stand out tonally and visually. Omaga has a unique flavor. It's its own thing. He's very good at creating a vibe. So kind of wherever Benny's put, that vibe will still stand out, actually.
Yeah, sonically, this section, in fact, even the first 5 entries, sonically, they're all really different. I think Czech Republic could do well because it does stand out so much. And speaking from like a British perspective, this is the type of thing that does get into the charts, at least in this country. And I wouldn't be surprised if it did do well. Greece and Austria, yeah, Greece is probably the most unpredictable just because we don't know what the staging is going to be like. But the music video kind of had this expensive, magical fantasy fairy tale feeling to it. And judging by the funk disco kind of 80s like Dua Lipa pop vibe that they've got going on, I've no doubt they can create an amazing stage show. What worries me, though, is the subdued vibes of Austria following that.
Yeah, this is interesting. So I think Stefania is going to turn up and turn out. I mean, she's posted a post on Instagram of their live on tape from Bulgaria, and there were male dancers. I'm pretty sure people were recognizing the male dancers. And she's a great performer. She looks great. She's young. She's fresh. There's a freshness to Stefania. And I think that's something you can't undersell. You know, the girl next door. In a sea of women, she's kind of the young, fresh girl. Destiny has the same charm being younger. That youth is really powerful. And that song it's soaring. It's so on trend. It's like the 1980s vibe done well for today. Whereas Austria, it's also very well done. It's very glossy, but it is more subdued. And so if you've got, I don't know, Stefania riding a flying Pegasus across the stage, who knows? And then you go to Austria. I actually thought his music video was kind of beautiful, really well done. I love the idea of him singing inside of this house and the walls collapsing. And this had an expense and a quality and a seriousness of purpose. I think people may be underrating Austria, actually. It's very classy, and as we saw, Caesar Samson, Austria, a song that wasn't hyped, ends up winning the jury vote of the entire Eurovision Song Contest 2018. Don't write off Mr. Vincent Bueno or Marvin Dietmann.
Yeah, that's a good point. Intimacy and vulnerability can have a massive impact on the Eurovision stage. We kind of always expect songs that, don't have these extravagant lights, this massive stage show with all these dancers and whatever else going on. If you've not got that, people won't pay attention to it until they're actually watching the live performance. But look at Salvador Sobral, there has to be that connection with the audience. And I think if Vincent nails that, he could easily get through to the final, because the juries are going to like this for its vocals and for its lyrics as well. I think there's something quite moving about this song. I do worry, like I said, about following Greece. That's going to be tough. But if they can get it right, they're going through.
Just don't hurt her Pegasus. Let's play fair. All right. After Vincent, we move to a song which Deb and Adrenalina described as a song written for people who can't sing. It is Rafał from Poland with The Ride. Now, this to me is the most generic of all the songs of Eurovision 2021. This is kind of song by numbers. I do think it's actually, I would play this. I would not pay for this, but I would happily play this. If this was on at the gym, I would keep doing my squats. If this was on, there's something charming about the familiarity and the tiredness of it. I don't know much about him. I'm not sure he's a singer. I think he's like a TV host. But I'm not gonna underrate Poland. Let's see what they can do. I love cars. Formula One is terribly exciting. Maybe there will be a car analogy or metaphor on the stage. Oliver.
A car or a car crash, maybe.
Shade button.
Listen, I've seen this song described as Violent Thing sung by Gary Barlow. And I don't want to be shady. I just don't know how they're going to translate the visuals from the music video to the stage. There's not really a moment to this song. I think it's fun. I think it's inoffensive. And yeah, like you said, if this was on the radio, I wouldn't change the channel. I don't see anything wrong with it. There's just nothing about this song that's making me want to keep going or find out more or, put it on repeat or anything like that. It's just not doing it for me. And in quite a strong lineup, this is going to get lost.
Ride to the Final of Eurovision, or a ride to the laundromat to pick up your dirty clothes, which have been freshly laundered. We move on. Number 7, Natalia Gordienko, Sugar. This, I love that she's in 7. I love that she's in 7. She's been put towards the end of the first half. We know that Moldova can do quirky, wild, crazy, amazing, and surprise. Their video was hilariously camp, over the top, sensual. There was no ambiguity here. She was hungry for some sugar. And I just love that they went for it. It was playful. This stage show will not be a trip to the candy shop part 2. This will be glossy, expensive. Think more Nicki Minaj, diamonds, long coats, that kind of thing. More high fashion, ostrich-inspired feathers. That's what I'm picturing anyway. She drinks champagne with diamonds in the glass. That kind of expense. And also, clearly they have something clever planned. They're put toward the end. I imagine the ride will just be sort of Rafał with some dancers, so you don't have to clear the stage. That's just the vibe I get. Whereas with her, maybe you need to roll things on. Maybe you need panels. You need a clear stage so she can set the scene of her sensual candy shop. I'm feeling really good for Moldova. Dorados staging, 5,000 euros, but probably the best staging of the entire Eurovision. Bang for euro, bang for buck. Just so clever. They will do something clever. I can't wait.
Yeah, Dream Team, you can't go wrong in terms of staging, regardless of what you think of their music, their songs, their compositions. They always get the staging right. And I think this could go really well. The problem I'm seeing at the moment, and I don't want this to sound like a read or shady or anything like that, because I love Natalia. When we've seen her perform in Russia, it was a little bit wooden. And I just want to see her loosen up a little bit more. I don't think it's going to work if we copy and paste things from the music video directly to the stage. But there really needs to be some elevation compared to what we've seen in Russia, because I think Moldova's spot in the final is far from secure if they bring what they did in Moscow to Rotterdam.
Now, my king, let me just say this. I respect all opinions. I respect all nationalities, gender, sexuality, opinion. Open. This mind is open. Love is the word. I think our girl's gonna slay. When you're on a small TV studio in Russia, it was like a chat show or something. She couldn't do very much, and I think given where she was, I think she did an okay job. They will elevate. She's won New Wave. She's won all these song contests. She's a performer. It's kind of in psychology, the Yerkes-Dodson theory. If you're good at something, you do it well with lots of people. She's gonna slay in front of 200 million. She's gonna slay. When it's a small TV studio audience, maybe she doesn't slay. So I'm ready for the sugar rush. Now, Oliver, this is very exciting. Iceland, Daði á Gagnamagnið, they have been put last in the first half, which to me suggests they have iconic staging. Now, this is not just based on the running order. If you were the favorite to win Eurovision and the entire nation, the entire island of Iceland was behind you, and you had another year, you'd probably think big too. So I strongly suspect RUV Iceland is going to throw some of those coins, dollars, bitcoins this way. The music video completely elevated this for me. Before, I was like, it's good, it's fine, but it's just fine. After seeing that music video, I'm like, this is really fun and cute. And even though the video was not about the marriage, it made me get the message of the song despite that. I love the whole Japanese monster anime theme, the Power Rangers, the Paw Patrol. They can work with this. That music video gives me so much hope that this will do better than a lot of people who have written off the song would think.
Yeah, I think when this was first presented on that TV show, actually kind of relates to what you were just saying about Natalia, with it being this smallish TV studio. And they also had cellists, they had that string quartet, they had a drummer.
Too much.
That's not coming to Eurovision with them. We know that. Just in that studio, they didn't have the space to move. On the Rotterdam stage, they've got complete control over everything that they're going to do. Daði wrote this song by himself. It's his artistic vision, and I'm really excited to see how this is going to translate. There will be elements that we've seen before with Think About Things, because obviously this is trying to recreate some of the success. I think this is a really strong song on its own, but we can't deny the connection there. I think a lot of people wrote this off as well because of kind of a fun thing to do is hate the favourite. I don't understand why, but that can be a thing that a lot of people like to do. But this is easily going through. This would have gone through no matter where it was in the semi-final. And closing the first half, yeah, great position for Iceland to be in.
And also, and I don't mean to be flippant, because he is so tall, you remember him. There's a presence. And he's much taller than the other members of the band. And so I think when you're watching the recap, you're like, oh yeah, there's something clicked. You're like, oh yes, the tall guy. And I do think that will actually work in his favor. Now, we move on to the next group of songs. It's Serbia in 9, followed by Georgia. Talk about a contrast. So we move from kind of the disco, mellow vibe of 10 years to the full-on Loco train. And I'm sure it's going to be over the top with lots of choreography. For Serbia, that's great. It's a real tonal shift. But then Georgia, I think Georgia was going to struggle regardless. And coming after Serbia, it's going to feel so pared back and quiet. Almost like, you know, when someone's in a hospital and then the heart stops and it goes bzzz. It could just flatline.
Flatline.
Yeah, and I really worry for him. So great for Daði and, you know, Hurricane, because it's like they're both quality within their genre, but then poor Georgia coming in second in the second half. I mean, that says everything.
Yeah, I mean, number 10 here is the same as number 2 in the first half. But even when we look after Georgia and we think about Albania and Portugal, even though Albania is not necessarily a ballad, there is still kind of this subdued vibe to it. And these 3 slowish songs coming right after Hurricane, which doesn't necessarily appeal to me, but is going to appeal to a lot of people, the songs that follow that, they're really going to struggle. I don't know if 10, 11 or 12, Georgia, Albania or Portugal are going to be making it through.
I guess Georgia's there so the audience can catch their breath after the hurricane. In this section of songs you name, I think Albania is in the best position. Coming after Georgia, whoever comes after Georgia is going to wake up Europe. It's going to be like, wake up. And Anxhela, with that big voice and the Sacha Jean-Baptiste staging and the ethnic feel, it's the most traditionally ethnic, you know what I'm saying? They're playing with traditional instruments. It has a real ethnic identity. She said she really wanted to make that ethnic identity more powerful in an interview on movievlogs.com. You can check that out. And I think that's going to play to her strengths because I guess Serbia is in Serbian, but I wouldn't necessarily say that song smacks of like Serbian tradition. And Georgia is kind of, you know, indie pop anywhere, and it's in English. Then comes Albania. The eagle has landed. So that actually gives me hope for her. Portugal, look, they're going to need epic staging to elevate this. Because while the voice is amazing, the song is monotonous and flat and jazzy. And actually, I don't have too much more to add about Portugal. I respect this group's artistry. I think it is beautiful, but it loops too much for me. So they need epic staging.
I also think Portugal run the risk, if they do have this amazing staging, they run the risk of going the make route. You can't deny the comparisons between those two bands in terms of, like, you know, sonically, there's similar genre there. But if they go too over the top with it, or they go too far the other way and have it really playing like they did at Festival de Canção, or look at other Eurovision songs like Carousel from Latvia, if they go down that route, there's a really fine line, is what I'm saying. And they have to nail that if they want to get anywhere near qualification. Because this type of thing, it's just not going to resonate with a lot of audiences, especially in this lineup.
We move on to Unlucky 13, but I think it will be lucky for Bulgaria, Victoria. This is one of my favorite tracks of the year. It is so simple and so beautiful. She's working with Marvin Dietmann. I think this is going to be epic. The music video was so class, so quality. This would be fine no matter where it went, but I think coming after the Black Mamba, that's interesting because these are both kind of downbeat. You know, they're not the most upbeat, uplifting songs. Hers does have moments of light, though, actually. There is light. She's going to slay no matter where she is, so I don't think it matters. I do think her staging will be so good that it will bring people back to life following Portugal.
Yeah. If we're looking at these emotional ballad type songs and putting Bulgaria versus Portugal. Bulgaria knocks Portugal out of the park, even though they are back-to-back, slow songs, this kind of subdued passage, actually, of 5 or so songs. Bulgaria is absolutely a good one for this section to finish on. And, Growing Up is Getting Old has so much more staging potential than I think we've seen yet. And we know it's going to be a great show. She would have been safe anywhere, but this is a really good spot for Victoria.
And 14 is a good spot for Blind Channel, Dark Side. We go from kind of quiet and contemplative to rocking out loud, in your face, unforgettable Finland. This is very, very good for them to be in this position coming after Bulgaria. I'm just glad they were drawn to the second half, frankly. I know that the producers only determine the order within the halves, and it's great that they're in the second half because this is an act you want to build up to. I think this will wake people up if they're getting bored of the semi-final. God forbid, but this will really jolt people back into the show.
In terms of energy, absolutely, it is 100% up there. It's exactly where it needs to be. I almost expected this to open the second half purely because of that kind of, you've got that punch in the face of energy. It's going to bring people back immediately. But equally, this is a good spot for Blind Channel to be in. They're going to qualify, no doubt. And, coming right after that heavy section of ballads and slow and moving songs, this is definitely going to wake people up that didn't necessarily respond to the likes of Victoria. Because although I really like that song, we know that kind of thing can be divisive with the larger Eurovision audience. The reach there is much more than just the fan base that we know. And Finland is going to wake a lot of people up. People are really going to like it.
And they will not be going to sleep because Samantha Tina from Latvia is immediately afterwards. Now, this is interesting to me. This makes me think that they want to set up Switzerland in 16, because rather than going from loud rock Finland to soft contemplative John's Tears back to loud in-your-face Samantha, they decided to go Finland-Latvia, so boom, boom, then soft. And granted, he's singing in falsetto and he has big notes, but it's a more gentle song overall, which makes me worry for Samantha. Did they think, better to kind of push the favorite than support the underdog?
Yeah, Latvia could get lost here, honestly, because there are 2 big fan favorites surrounding it. I don't know how people are going to respond to the inevitably wacky staging that Latvia is going to bring. If it's anything like those women with the visors and the spray bottles from Still Breathing, I just don't know if people are going to be able to get on board with it. It's definitely a good song to be towards the end of the show. Just like Blind Channel, it is like that blast of energy. But I'm a little bit confused that there is so much kind of ballads. There's so many ballads before that, and then we've suddenly got these massive punches of energy. When we compare that to semi-final 1, it's the complete opposite. We've got ballad, pop. This time, there's complete separation. I think that's bizarre, and I think that could be of detriment to Latvia.
And I spoke with Samantha Tina last night, actually. We're the 30th today? So I spoke with her on the 29th. And she said that her performance is going to take us around the world, but that's all she would say. And she said it's not in the Halloween kind of Halloween emoji or GIFs you would use on Instagram, like, blood moons. It's not in that vein. So take that for what you will. I don't know what that means, but it's exciting. She has big plans. We move on then to Switzerland and Denmark, the final 2. Switzerland has said, he told me in an interview, which is available on movieblogs.com, that his performance has special effects and special lighting, which he couldn't do on his live on tape. So there's going to be something very atmospheric here. So going towards the end, right before voting, very memorable. And then kind of Denmark closes. Now, this is a bit random. I think a lot of people were like, what? But it's a feel-good, fun song. And if they cut and paste from DMGP 2021, there won't be that much staging. It'll mostly just be lights and them being the show. The dancing, the facial expressions. Fyr Flamme, they're very good just if you just focus on them, I'm sold. I love how the lead singer just does his thing, does his dancing, does his moves. They don't really need lots of staging. So maybe this was a practical consideration. Maybe it was just saying, okay, we want something upbeat and happy, and we need something with simple staging because we have this amazing interval that's coming on afterwards, and it's super complicated, so we need the stage clear. That could be the analysis, because the producer's analysis is not just about tonal shifts and music. That's what fans think of, but they have to think of practical things like moving a box on the stage or wheeling Kate Miller-Heidke out. There are other things at play here.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually think, if anything, Denmark being in the last spot helps them massively, because it's not going to get lost anymore. Even though they're coming right after the favourite, this is going to be fun. It's up-tempo, it's inoffensive, enjoyable. It ticks a lot of boxes for a lot of people. And like you said, in terms of staging and aesthetic, they've done a lot with this song that, a lot of people don't rate very highly. And I think Denmark could still make it through. If you'd have asked me before the running order came out, I'd have said, no chance. But now there's a bit more hope for Fyr and Flamme. I think this is going to stand out for good reasons this time.
Yeah, to me, the favorites are still the favorites. In this, when I look at this overall, I'm still seeing San Marino, Greece, Iceland. The Axe countries I've been talking about, I still see them doing well. Bulgaria, Finland. Yeah, I guess the only thing that kind of caught me off guard was Denmark performing last. So I hope for the best for them, because that's a real grower. From the audio cut, I was like, whatever. But then the stage show, I was like, oh my God, everything. So good luck to them. Any final thoughts from you, Oliver?
I think I agree with the final thought that Denmark last is random. But like I said, this actually helps their chances rather than puts a downer on them. Bit of a random section in the middle of ballads, but I just really hope that we're getting some good staging. We're not getting one statuesque person stood in the middle of the stage, one after each other, because that is going to get repetitive and people are going to switch off. And that's not going to be good for the final few acts, especially Switzerland as the favourite. But really good opener, San Marino opening the semi-final. That is so incredible. And I honestly think San Marino could be in the top 3 of this semi.
Oh, absolutely. The Adrenalina is lit. Gasoline, kerosene, I'm ready to ignite. In any case, that's what we think. What do you think? Are you happy with the semifinal 2 running order? Who do you think this helps? Who do you think it hurts? What are the big surprises to you? Let us know here on Weeby Blogs.
And be sure to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
Yeah, all of it. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.